here basically we are discussing about the 173 number formula part. And in 173 formula number part, we are discussing mm, about the subscription plan. And this is basically actually the formula part ongoing. And in formula part, basically it's connected with the entire formula of the software industry. And in the entire software industry, basically you are going to see each and every stuff of the calculation, each and every steps calculation from the initialization of the project, before the initialization of the project, pre-sales project, and the pre-process, pre-sales expense done, and each and every stuff, basically each and every stuff calculation. This formula part is going to be covered here. Basically we have so lots of stuff basically. And here one of the topic which we are discussing, that is basically a subscription level plan. What actually the subscription is? Subscription by default, we if we say that subscription is what? Subscription means you are basically subscribing something, and you will be getting that subscription periodically, right? That is basically by default the definition of subscription. You are going to give something to the um, you can say to the product owner or the seller or the websites or the some shopping websites or some to the online groups, so that basically you get the periodically some products, basically whatever it might be, magazine, it might be the data, it might be the energy, it might be the foods, it might be some other basically materials. So here it's the energy of the city data. So whatever basically, for example, one Vadodara city is having the normal climate. Here basically we are not taking that the Vadodara city is having extreme climate. Extreme climate means not a single person is going to get any disease. So that type of energy basically it's very difficult to get any city basically. That might be some extraordinary city. In this world basically there is no city like that. That also you can say. In this world there is no city like extraordinary city. An extraordinary city is what we have already discussed. That is basically not a single person will get disease. So that is not possible basically, because blood cells is always doing process. And if blood cells is always doing process, then basically it might possible that any of the sub blood cells gets connect to some other blood cells, or it might get some connect to some new blood cells. And if a new blood cells is not created as a physical location, then basically it will get converted into the disease. That is basically the health will get issue. So that basically by default happens. So one person told that actually the subscription plan group, basically what actually they are sending to, they are sending the next level data process data. That is basically, for example, there is one text box equal to 1000 city, like this basically we have already discussed, that 1000 cities equal to created from the text box. Vice versa, the text box is created from the 1000 cities. But the subscription plan basically says that we have taken each and every city's data where the text box equal to 1000 city was created, but the Vadodara city was left, because Vadodara city also contains few areas where the text box data is getting processed. So we forget to take that data. Not forget actually, we actually left. We actually thought that we will take this data in last. So because forget in this energy industry, it's basically like death penalty. Because if you forget any city, then basically it's like a death penalty, you can say. So energy departments basically who are basically working in the energy department, they basically keeps each and everything's reminder. That also 100 times, because see, they are not supposed to forgive anything. Basically, you can say they always have to keep remember each and everything. So if the Earth planet is to that level, then basically you can just imagine the satellite groups basically, how basically they have to remember each and everything basically. But if you compare the satellite groups with the Earth planet group, then basically it's not possible. For example, I am the normal person, right? So it might possible that my remember basically the my memory, it can't remember properly basically. It might possible. Why? Because I am not a satellite person, and I am not working in the one of the satellites group basically, right? Where basically I can remember each and everything. Basically. That is not possible basically, right? So the satellite groups has to keep each and every remember in their mind basically. You can say. Each and every basically you can say task in their mind. And if they have some remember technology, or basically you can say future time task allocation technology, then basically they can keep that. But mostly remember is the only way basically, because electronics device, it's a electronic device, right? Sometimes it gets not work, it's not working in the earth planet also. So there basically, but mostly it's each and every things are basically connected with the satellites, right? And satellites are electronic equipments, so that basically is by default working only. So basically they always trust on electronic materials because it has tested 100 times, then only basically it goes to the satellites. So here basically we are talking about the subscription data, which is basically telling that we are passing each and every data to the subscription plan basically. So here we have taken one example of the you can say that was of the earthquakes, right? So how the earthquakes are basically working, how the each and every buildings are standing in their straight position. One person asked that basically how it's possible that one simple blood cells data set of blood cells and the collected energy, how they can basically uh, keep the building very in the very straight position, and it's not moving to the left and it's not moving to the right also. So that's basically the, you can say, the power of the blood cells, because each and every energy in this earth planet that are directly connected with the satellites, and satellites are directly connected with the planets to planets. So that's basically the forcing of the technology, forcing mechanism also, you can say, the planets to planet forcing and satellites to satellite forcing. That basically might be the very deep uh, concept basically, you can say, but in short basically we can explain that it's a pushing technology basically, you can say. On the base of the pushing technology, the buildings are standing at the position, but here where the tectonic plates are also there, they are basically handling the magnetic waves of the planets basically, you can say. Because sand is equal to set of planets. Sand is equal to set of planets. Sand is created by the set of. I have taken one example of the lava. What is lava? When the lava get blast, then basically the human also can be created from the lava sand, and that is created also, and lots of cities are also created. So you can just imagine the power of the sand also, you can say. So and from sand basically you creates human, gets creates human, and the human basically generates the blood cells, and blood cells basically up to what level the energy blood cells have, that basically everybody knows. So here basically it's Earth Land subscription, which is taken by the subscription groups, and here it's 3 to 4 lakh subscription plan basically, which is available with the World Bank. And here basically World Bank is representing the 3 to 4 lakh subscription plan in front of Indian government basically. That is basically, you can say, the admin groups basically, who basically says that this much subscription plan basically we have created, and from this basically whatever subscription plan you want, you can take it, and you can choose the subscription plan basically, you can say whatever subscription plan you have, you can use that. So you can just imagine the subscription plan basically in information also, you can say it's a basically huge subscription plan data, you can say. So this was about the earthquake. Due to that, basically the earthquakes are not coming. And in this, basically, if we shift the other energy with the human energy, that is basically the thousand family groups that are basically around more than 50 to 70,000 god families basically. Here basically I have taken as an example that 55,000 to 60,000, 70,000 god families are there, and their energy basically are also getting uh, used in basically not to come earthquake. Not to come earthquake means the supporting of each and every buildings where with there basically the god families energies are basically getting used. So you can just imagine the, you can say, the seriousness also of the energy basically, you can say. So if anybody, any human basically says that we basically got disease, we got this type of data, we got this type of information in our body, then basically it's very uh, what to say, if that energy is getting used somewhere, then basically it's very critical information which has to be handled very critically, because that energy is getting used in any of is used in lots of buildings supporting plant, in supporting basically. So it's very critical thing basically, you can say. That's why basically you have to handle this situation very seriously. So this basically is a normal process for the energy groups. And these groups basically are doing, because that's why the each and every buildings in this world in this India basically it's standing. Otherwise, if it's in some wrong process basically, you can say wrong process means the energy which is getting support to the buildings, if it's getting some problem, then basically buildings will get shake, and that name you can give as a earthquake basically, you can say. So this that's like this basically the earthquake name also came into the picture. So in earthquake basically there are two types of earthquake. One is in front of world and not in front of world. In front of world, that is basically the tectonic plates, and not in front of world, that is basically the energy supports which are supporting the buildings. So that's basically we have already discussed. So here basically it was about the subscription plan, and which the Bollywood group basically have each and every subscription plan information. For example, as in that India has taken around 160 subscription plan from the 3 lakh, from 3 to 4 lakh. So 160 subscription plan is given to the nuclear power plant and the energy plant and the power plant of the India. So that is basically the main energy groups basically, who are basically connected with the rest of the world. So rest of the world basically means India is connected to with the rest of the world with these energy companies and with these power companies and with these nuclear power companies. And this nuclear power companies is having this 160 subscription plan which they use periodically, and according to the uh, business basically, you can say, because for this 160 subscription plan is getting used in each and every human needs process. For example, mall contains around more than 3 to 4,000 companies of the sorry, the human needs companies. So these 3 to 4,000 companies are directly connected to with this 160 subscription plan. That's why basically the stock information basically of each and every companies, each and every human needs companies are playing most important role basically. Why? Because the 160 subscription plan which is taken by the government, that is basically Indian government admin department, that is basically the administrator department, they have taken this subscription plan for a certain time period. After that, this 160 subscription plan will get expired. Then basically there is no use of this, that human needs which you are eating. Then by chance you have kept the stock in your house, and you basically consume that food after some certain times. Then basically if your body basically is up to that level, you have the your body basically, you can say, can take the humanity basically, your what to say, your energy level power, your the consumption power and the your energy power of your body is good, then basically you will not get disease. Otherwise basically if your body is not having some disease or having some problem, then basically it will 100% going to convert to the disease. That is basically by default going to convert to your disease, and the doctors basically will comes into the picture. That's why basically the medical industry also gets into the picture with the help of the mall industry, with the help of the stock groups, basically you can say, who are basically the giving the stocks, uh, who are basically the selling the stocks of that old stocks. But this basically never happens, because nowadays the dates are written in the manufacturing dates are written in the each and every materials, and nowadays people basically sees each and every manufacturing date. So basically, this group, my the nowadays basically the who are purchasing the each and every items, they basically have good knowledge also, because they know about this 160 subscription plan which is taken by the government, and that is going to expire soon. So like this, there are many subscription plan taken by the government. This is just about the human needs, and like this, basically there are more subscription plan taken by the government for the each and every buildings, you can say. For example, there are 100 buildings in Vadodara, which basically contains 35 floors. Just taking as an example, in real basically it's not like that. 35 floors basically buildings are having, and more than 100 buildings are like this. So for that, basically the government has taken few set of subscription. They have to take the subscription, otherwise this tall building will get formed. So that's why basically the contractor also basically keeps on watching with the government plans, what government do is doing, which type of activity governments are doing for this 35 building, because this 35 buildings, sorry, the 35 floor buildings, that 100 buildings of the 35 floor is basically created by certain contractors, by the certain businessmen. So they always keeps watching with the government plans, and this basically comes into the budget also. The government, when they read the budget, in that budget basically by default they give the subscription plan information also, that this subscription we are going to take. That is basically here we I have taken as a number of 160. So they will directly not tell that the 160 subscription plan is going to be taken in this budget. In this budget session, we have taken this 160 subscription plan. So they directly will not tell, but it's an indirect process, basically you can say, because nobody will tell that we are basically taking the subscription plan, and according to that, basically the city is running. So nobody, no government is going to tell directly to the public that we are handling your subscription plan. So it's basically very difficult also to handle this type of situation also. So you can just see the chaining system. According to the 160 subscription plan, each and every human needs are created by the companies that are basically the human needs companies. For example, biscuits, oils, rice, wheats, dals, vegetables, fruits, each and everything basically are created on the base of this 160 subscription plan. And then basically according to the subscription plan, the human needs companies basically generates the subscription, generates the human needs. For example, biscuits, vegetables, fruits. These all are basically produced by the companies, and then basically they sends the human needs data to the market basically. And here basically the main thing is data science project basically. That is basically the machine intelligence projects, basically you can say, machine level data science project basically, which plays most important role basically. So that's why basically lots of people says that the data science is the future of the software industry. That's why basically this is the best example of the data science, you can say, the best example of the machine learning projects, basically you can say. I think you will never get the best example other than this of the data science and the machine level language project. This is the best example. So like this, the mall industry gets the data, and then basically they sends their stock to the each and every malls. For example, in Vadodara city, there are around 35 malls, and 20, assume that it's a 35, but in real number that it's totally different. Assume that it's a 35, and in 35 each mall basically around the 3000 companies are connected. So you can just imagine around assume that 4 to 5000 companies are connected with each and every mall. So this each and every company is basically that are basically human needs company, who are basically giving their materials to the malls, and then basically on the base of the material supplied, the around the 35 lakh people are there in Vadodara. The 35 lakh people will take each and every materials from the malls, and they have the foods basically. Like this, basically each and every population of Vadodara city, they are having the normal life. And like this, the subscription plan is also going fine. Few people are getting disease. Why? That might be the reason of the old stock getting used by the people. And according to the old stock, the oxygen is not getting supplied by the power company, because power company is supplying the oxygen power supply to the city, to the 35 lakh people, according to the 160 subscription plan. But the people who get disease, they are basically having the data of old subscription plans items. So by default, basically, if their body supports, then basically they will not get disease. And if it's not support, then by default they get disease. So here basically you can just see the mall chain. That is basically the soft on each and every human materials chain. And here the main thing is the software company who is keeping track of each and every items. Because here if the software company will not keep each and every items track, then basically it will be very mess. That's why basically the data science project and machine learning project is playing most important role in this software industry, in this small industry you can say. So the retail industry is fully covered with this data science project, because it's, you can just see the chain industry basically. So this also chain basically is converted to industry, because it's a converted to the industry also you can see. So you can just see the mapping of each and every subscription plan, from the subscription plan which is taken by the government. The budget has connected here, the malls connected here, the human needs company connected here. So you can just see the nuclear company connected here, power company connected, energy company connected. So this is basically, you can say it's a 173 number part, and in 174 we are going to discuss a little bit more interesting about the formulas of the software industry.